Simon Halstead, behind the scenes before MESSE starts. I think I've caught you at the Novation base station 2, right?
Yeah, you've caught me with one of only 2 units that we have out here, and these are engineering samples, but they are representative of the final hardware unit, so they look exactly the same. The difference is that we don't have the final firmware on them yet, so I can't play you many of the sounds, but we'll have an idea of what it sounds like in a second.
So it's quite big, isn't it? I mean, it's a sort of a larger format. It hasn't got the fiddly knobs and what have you.
Yeah, it's significantly bigger than the original base station. As you pointed out to me before, the knobs on the original base station were really close together. They were they didn't come particularly high off the hardware, so they're difficult to control. These are more spread out, and we've got sliders for the envelopes.
So what's the voice structure? We've got a couple of oscillators.
We've got 2 main oscillators, a sub-oscillator and a noise generator. The 2 main oscillators can be selected between sine wave, triangle wave sawtooth, variable pulse width, which can be a square wave as well. And the sub-oscillator can be selected between sine wave, variable pulse width and square wave, and tracks oscillator 1, and you can select between 2 and 1 octaves down.
Okay, and we've got some interesting business going on the filter here.
Yeah, we've got the original filter that's based on the base station from 1993, which we've called Classic. That can be selected between low pass, band pass and high pass, and 12 and 24 decibel slopes. And we've also got this acid filter, which is a kind of ladder filter that replicates 303 type sounds.
Right, okay, and a nice big frequency knob.
Yeah, we learned that lesson with the last 2 synths we did, Ultra Nova and Mini Nova. Although this is a completely different type of synth, we know that people want to be able to grab for the filter cutoff frequency and not miss it. So we make that knob substantially bigger.
So really you should have had that backlit so that when you switch to acid it had a smiley face on the top. Special edition perhaps?
That could be the Sonic State edition of Base Station 2. We'll have that ready by August.
Thank you very much. What else have we got here? We've got a couple of LFOs.
Yeah, got 2 LFOs that can modulate filter, pitch and various other bits and pieces. And we've got 2 envelopes, amp envelope and modulation envelope, and you can also modulate both you can control both at the same time.
Right, okay, so you've got a single control but switchable. Right, okay.
That's correct, yeah.
These go quite far up into the audio spectrum from what I heard as well, so you get some good mod.
Yes, they do. As base station number 2.
Both of them together in the same room.
With the lovely Giles.
The 2 existing on a 1 base. So, and then we also got arpeggiator and step sequencer of some kind?
Yeah, we've got an arpeggiator which you can select between 32 different rhythms and direction and all the rest of the things you'd expect from an arpeggiator.
And it looks like we access some of these kind of deeper functions with the classic keyboard business. So you noticed that we changed the layout and made it a little bit bigger, but in order to fit every feature that we wanted to have on there onto the hardware, it would have been enormous. So there are a few additional functions that you can access by toggling the function button and pressing keys on the key mech, but all the main stuff has its own dedicated knobs and sliders and switches. So connections, we've got USB, is that MIDI only?
That's MIDI only, yeah, we're not passing any audio through USB.
MIDI I/O.
Sustain pedal, you can put audio through the filter and effects with that external in.
Okay, and mono out and a headphone out. No,
that's correct.
No gate and CV, that seems to be, you haven't joined the club.
No, we haven't joined the gate and CV club, mostly because we wanted to make it at an affordable price point, and adding MIDI CV would have put it out of the reach of a lot of the people that would have liked to buy it.
Right, okay. So is it USB bus power?
Yes, this has been bus powered off the Mac at the moment. You can also add a power supply to it. And in case I didn't mention it earlier, it's entirely analog.
Yes, I was going to ask about that, because I mean, so it's not digitally controlled analog, it's analog, or is it digitally controlled?
The timing's digitally controlled and the audio path is pure analog.
Okay. So there were a couple of other things that we added. We've got overdrive and distortion. Those are the effects, right? So it's
yeah, we've got distortion effects, overdrive on the filter, and this oscillator filter modulation thing, which creates a kind of FM type effect.
So is it going to make a sound if you press a key?
Let's have a go. I hope so. There we go. the oscillator filter mod.
Okay, there we go. Got something.
We've got some volume.
So it's got quite a driven sound. I mean, I do understand that this is not a representative of what it's going to do when it's finally kind of finished, but does it do the same? Because the original base station was very famous for two things: 303 emulation and kind of sub bass that William Orbit used to use on everything, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. With the 303 stuff, as we mentioned before, the acid filter is there to specifically fulfill 303 kind of emulated sounds. So you can make it sound squelchy and acidy. And the sub-oscillator obviously has been put in to allow people to build really, really large bass sounds.
And you resisted the draw of the super saw as well, I see.
There's no super saw on this one.
It's a virgin super saw product.
Yes, super sawless.
Super sawless. So when are we going to see it? Because obviously I understand these are samples. When are we going to see production? And
these are going into production very soon, which means they should be available in the next couple of months.
And what was the pricing?
It's £399, $499 US.
I appreciate it. We'd rather put you on the spot, seeing as you've got a stand to build.
Well, thanks for coming and visiting us, and hopefully if you come back tomorrow we'll have a later version of the firmware where we'll be able to show you more sounds and it'll be a little bit more playable.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.